Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
All right, people, this is an interesting one, right? Joshua Buatsi today has announced that he has signed a new deal, not with the Zone of Matchroom, but with Ben Shalom, Boxer, and Sky Sports. He's going to be fighting on Sky Sports now moving forward. Now, bear in mind, Joshua Buatsi hasn't fought since May, the end of May, I think it was, last year was when he fought Craig Richards. So he's not fought since then. There was obviously talk of him facing Callum Smith, especially Dimitri Bivol. As far as I believe, the rumours were, now someone wants to confirm or deny these, but I heard rumours that he was offered in the region of 1.5 million to face Dimitri Bivol, which apparently he has not accepted and has gone down this road of joining Sky instead. Now, the reason he's stating is that he wants his fans to know exactly what channel he's on when he's fighting next, rather than saying to them, you got to download an app, you've got to put in an email address, and you have to pay a subscription. So he's saying that's the main reason, right? I mean, you know what? I know what's going to happen. People are going to be like, you're clearly under the Zone payroll when I go with this. But listen, right? You're offered potentially a world title fight for career high payday, and you're going to turn that down to go and fight Dan Aziz for a European title, because that seems to be the route that they're going to go. Now, if the 1.5 million is roughly the figure, or maybe it's an arbitrary figure, maybe it's a bit more, a bit less, but if it's roughly in around the million bracket, you really think he's going to get £1 million to fight Dan Aziz on Sky? It's a strange one for me, because Buatsi, when he turned over pro, I believe he was with 258. I don't know if he's still with 258, as is the case with Lawrence Okoli, who was another fighter who has gone to Sky in the recent times. So when he turned over pro, there was a lot of hype around him. And Sky really did build on that hype. They did, to be fair. They were talking about how in Team GB, he was the one who was kind of seen as the one who could go the furthest. Because that crop, the 2016 Rio squad, was not a great squad, to say the least. And with the exception of Lawrence Okoli, and Lawrence Okoli was one out of that squad who really no one had high hopes for in the pros, because he didn't look great as an amateur. He was knocked out and around by Arislandi Savon. He was dropped several times in the Olympics by Savon as well. Fowler was kind of like, he'll do okay, but wasn't really taught much of him. Who else? Cordina actually was the dark horse, because he was kind of good throughout, but without really impressing, if you know what I mean. Like, there was never any performance from Cordina where made you think, oh wow, he's, a dark horse, pro or amateur. So Buatsi was the one everyone had high hopes for. Now, a few things come to mind, right? One is that maybe he was happy with how Sky were promoting him. Not necessarily Eddie Hearn, maybe how they were marketing him is a better word. Because Sky, with their reach, and they have a very big reach in terms of marketing, and they can market a fighter with football events, etc., Soccer AM, all that good stuff. Maybe he liked the way that they were marketing him. And obviously with the Zone, it's going to be different. They don't have that reach. And maybe he's feeling, well, Sky were doing a better job in terms of a marketing point of view. But in terms of a financial point of view, you got to say that if a Bivol fight is there, regardless whether you're the favourite or not, like, most of us wouldn't have him as the favourite to beat Dimitri Bivol, but let's just say he did. Well, there's Callum Smith there as well. There's Berlanga potentially. There's Canelo. So surely, logically, it would make more sense to stay with Hearn in the Zone. Because I'm all for a fighter leaving a promoter if you see another route which gives you bigger fights and more money. For example, imagine you're a heavyweight, let's just say Johnny Fisher. Hypothetically, he's with Eddie Hearn. If he left Hearn today and went with Frank Warren or went with Bob Arum, I might be saying, well, like, that's probably a good move, because Hearn with heavyweights now, he's not got the stable he used to. Look at Frank Warren, the up-and-coming heavyweights he has. You look at Bob Arum, the up-and-coming heavyweights he has, your Andersons, etc. You would say for an up-and-coming heavyweight, that's a better idea, When you look at the light heavyweight division, and you look at who Hearn has, well, he's got Bivol, Canelo. Well, Canelo goes in between, but let's say Canelo. Berlanga potentially is going to be at light heavyweight pretty soon. Pacheco, is how you say, Diego Pacheco. He's probably going to go light heavyweight eventually, so there's fights there. I didn't already mention Callum Smith. there's Zurdo. Obviously, I know he's not with Matchroom, but he's a DAZN fighter, and I'm sure they'd happily work together. So it seems for me that there's bigger fights and more potential staying with DAZN. And again, if you are potentially on the verge of a world title for a career high payday, you could turn that down and you're going to go and sign for a rival promoter who only has one real light heavyweight in Dan Aziz, who was only just recently won a European title. That to me makes absolutely no sense. That to me kind of states that you yourself feel you're not potentially ready to go and take on the likes of a Dimitri Bivol, the likes of a Callum Smith. And rather than saying that, you're looking at across the pond and thinking, they're not going to put as much pressure on me. I fancy a Dan Aziz fight, similar level to Craig Richards, maybe a bit above. But I think I'll take that. And you know, that's just what it looks like from the outside looking in. Now, it could be wrong. Could turn out to be a stroke of genius, mastermind plan. And, you know, he could hit the bag. You know, he could make the bag over there on Sky. But when I look at the exodus of fighters from Eddie Hearn and what they've been doing since, like a good example would be Lerone Richards. You know, Eddie Hearn got him a fight on the undercard of Parker Chisora 2 against Carlos Gongora for an IBO title. And I believe he was trying to get him out on the undercard of Canelo Triple G3, I believe anyway. And he leaves Eddie Hearn. What's he doing now? He's fighting in the flipping York Hall. Now, I think maybe that's a case of Lerone Richards, because he kind of strikes me as someone who maybe, I don't want to say he's not the sharpest tool in the box, but has maybe an overinflated opinion of himself, just from what I've kind of gathered from him. Maybe he thought, like, you know, my style of no knockouts and all-out boxing will, you know, endear loads of fans to me if I'm with Sky. Well, he never even had his debut with Sky yet, and now he's fighting, as I said, on the York Hall, so that move turned out to be brilliant, didn't it? It's a strange one. It's a strange one. I'm trying to work it out in my head, kind of, why you would move unless you saw significantly bigger opportunities. But I don't see it. Certainly not with Sky. If he went with Frank Warren, I might say, okay, fair enough, the Yard fight is there, which is a fight that we've been talking about for years. Yard fight is there. Potentially a Beterbiev fight as well, if we can't get Beterbiev Bivol, because obviously Beterbiev is not a Queensbury fighter, but he's a Bob Arum top-ranked fighter, and you know, Frank and Bob seem to be, you know, like that almost in terms of working together. So I could maybe understand that a bit more. Of a boxer and Ben Shalom, it's a head scratcher. Essentially, what I'm seeing is you're going from potentially competing for a world title fight for career high payday to dropping down to European level for probably nowhere near that type of money. And again, Joshua Buatsi is saying that, you know, his reason is that he wants people to be able to watch it. Well, Buatsi has never really been someone to put butts in seats in the nicest possible way. He's not a bit like a Coley, like, you know, when Eddie Hearn, people were saying it's harsh on Eddie Hearn when he said that a Coley, Sky Sports were trying to make him the next big star and the face of Sky Sports boxing. And Eddie Hearn was saying that's not going to happen. And it's like, well, it's not going to happen. Because you look at the O2 when Coley fought on that Sunday against Seslak, it was half empty. You know, his style is not exactly endearing. His personality isn't. He's not the most charismatic guy in the world. Nor is Joshua Buatsi. He's a bit easier on the eye in terms of watching Buatsi than a Coley. When you know, Coley is having a bad fight, it's really bad. But again, Buatsi has never been one for. He's not going to sell out arenas anytime soon, anyway. So again, it's a strange one. It's a strange one. We will see how this goes at the end of the day. But from the outside looking in, and again, I'm all for fighters if they see a better opportunity with a different promoter, going for it. But with this one, I just don't see it. I just see it as a kind of, okay, you have opportunities there. Callum Smith, you have Callum Smith, you have that other guy, what's his name? Bivol and Canelo. Berlanga potentially. I'm sure I'm probably missing another light heavyweight who are thereabouts. But there's potential there. There's opportunities for big fights. And you're going down to, and no disrespect to Dan Aziz, he's a good fighter, but you're going down to a guy who's just won a European title on Sky. But you're probably not going to get the money that you would get fighting the guys I just mentioned. No, it's a strange one. It's a strange one. And it's an interesting one trying to get my head wrapped around the thinking of Buatsi on it. The only thing I can think of is that he's either, he loved what Sky were doing in terms of the marketing and he misses that, and or he's not confident of beating the Smiths, the Canelos, the Berlangas of the world, maybe wants more time to develop as a fighter, but doesn't feel he'll get that with DAZN, because DAZN are obviously in need of getting guys out there in big fights. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I obviously had to do the rides with G-Man, the in the car with G-Man kind of video today. Let me know your thoughts on it. It's a bit different. It's a different... I've been doing so many Fury USEC videos, it's nice to talk about something else for a change. And we'll talk more about it either tonight or tomorrow on Midweek Report, of course. But I've just gone over it. This is the one good thing about it. I can actually see the timer. I can see the timer. It makes a change. I can see I've gone 10 minutes now, which is perfect. I like the over 10 minute. Anything over 8 minutes is all G. Any video over 8 minutes is good, for obvious reasons. I'll leave that there, people. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks always to the Hit Company for sponsoring today's video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. For now, lads and lassies, I'll talk to you. Of course, let me know your thoughts on this whole situation in the comments below. Peace.